Are we live? Yeah, we're
Are
live.
you alive or live? That's the better.
No, I mean the best part is like I'm the only one that's actually on a mic right now because you've got to do hand-holding hosting duties. So everybody's just listening to me.
Okay.
Welcome everybody to another episode of
Wow. Okay.
the Best of Our Week. Best of Our Week on location.
Very much on location.
So we're gonna have to do sound test if anyone's like in the chat. Let us know because I'm pretty sure you're just gonna have to hold that thing.
Actually, we're probably better if we just leave it here. Yeah, like right. Oh,
so then I'll talk very quietly because I'm actually mic'd, and you guys are gonna have to share. So let us all know if you can hear Ricky and TK. But we're on location. We're out in beautiful Sonoma. I actually mean
sunny
like
Sonoma. Actually, sunny. It was
just raining. Sunny.
Yeah. So it was raining, and we caught just like a little patch of open sky, and the clouds are rolling right through there. So the lighting on our shot here is pristine right now. It probably won't hold, but we're here for the MediaTek Executive Summit, MediaTek #MediaTek Summit 2022.
Yes.
And we've been doing workshops, and we've been doing panels and discussions, all on the new gear that's coming out from MediaTek. They've definitely been pushing wider this year. We're gonna have a whole conversation about what's been going on there. But gents, I don't want to bury the lead. But the absolute most important story of the week here in Sonoma is LumaFusion for Android.
Yeah,
obviously,
and not only on Samsung on the Galaxy Store.
Yes,
it's available now directly in the App Store on all iPhones.
I love that. It was like the worst joke I could come up with for the MediaTek Summit was to not talk about MediaTek, but no, it's a legit piece of news.
It is a legit piece of news. It's available on all iPhone. I'm just kidding. It was a little bit of a mix-up with the whole how they launched it, right? I mean, so I'm looking at Juan, not realizing my microphone's over here. So I gotta look at Ricky while I talk to Juan.
Just lean in,
The soundtrack for this week's podcast is Lean Back.
Lean back.
Lean back.
I don't know if I could do this one. It's a little bit too hard. It's nice.
It's really, even if you're just like you collapse that and you hold it straight up, that might be easier.
No, so my thing would be, I'll probably say this. You may not see me look at Juan, but I'm talking to Juan, or when I'm talking to Ricky, obviously I look like I'm talking to Ricky. But
I just love that I can move around. Like, hey guys, you can hear me if I get up and come over here.
This is what happens when you
podcasting.
And you don't give us another mic, but
best podcast ever.
No, I will say this. Rode, if you're listening to this, we would love the ability of adding additional microphones to the setup. 2 is great, but sometimes somebody's coming over and we gotta get it covered.
It was like a big deal that they gave us 2 channels. So anyway, yes, I was obviously kind of joking, but no, it kind of took Android users by storm.
It was out of the blue. I didn't even see it coming, and I've
been seeing Josh Vergara run around, and he's like, "Have you guys been playing with LumaFusion?" He's been importing footage from his mirrorless camera and editing it on her phone. So that was obviously exciting. I don't know that we need to make
how many videos have you edited so far on it?
I'm at 4 videos now.
4, got it. It's good.
I've been playing with the Surface Pro 9 and the Surface Pro 9 5G. It's in my hotel room right now. I haven't really touched it because almost everything I'm doing, it's so immediately more accessible to now just edit directly from my phone.
Yeah.
So it's definitely the blessing and the curse of like our mobile lifestyle. Yeah. But it works really well. So
the other thing also to keep in mind is, although we have access to Android applications on the Pro 9 with mobile processing, the Google Play Store doesn't support it yet in the beta app. They only run x86 at this point. So the conversation around what the Pro 9 offers with the Pro 9 5G, I think that's the specific model that we're looking at. It's Windows on ARM. That's the conversation that both Juan and I are getting a chance to play around with. But it's exciting to see, for me at least, LumaFusion not only come to Android, but not come as part of a subscription.
Yep.
Yeah.
Come as a one-time fee and also on sale. Not that it's not sponsored by LumaFusion.
I was just gonna say this podcast not sponsored by LumaTouch.
No,
are we sure? Should we be?
We've only bought a few licenses from them. But like for $20, you're able to pick it up, and it's seriously one of the more advanced, hands-on, integrated, simple to use. And even though technically it's in beta, it's still very functional.
Yeah.
I honestly thought it was only on the Samsung Galaxy Store first because it showed up there. So I bought it there, and now I'm having to buy it again on Google Play Store.
Support your developers bringing good apps. I just think it's funny that they mentioned bringing LumaFusion to Android at the beginning of the year. And then we didn't hear any news from them. And then we get the announcement that DaVinci Resolve is going to the iPad. And suddenly LumaFusion got way more active with Android users.
Actually, I have an additional news on that.
Oh, what's that?
DaVinci just came out with an update today.
Yeah.
And they are now exporting for social media in vertical.
Oh,
little other back and forth
a little bit more.
Just this morning.
I like this arms race. This is good for me.
I like it.
This is excellent.
No, but this is the race where we benefit as a consumer, and I think this is always what we want. You want more competitors. You want more people in the realm. And DaVinci, for me, ever since he converted me over to DaVinci, it's been a life-changing experience. The solution, the resolution, not having to pay every single time an update kind of comes up, it's just killing me. Just, you pay as you use and you never own anything. And
now we're getting the same thing in Android land, where I can finally drop Power Director and KineMaster.
Absolutely.
KineMaster's new subscription is $120 a year.
But I'm hoping that they see that and they change.
You can pay $20 for LumaFusion and never spend another dime.
It's on the thing. It says pay once, use forever.
So anyway,
that's how I like it.
Again, this podcast now sponsored by LumaFusion. Definitely check it out and support developers that are actually bringing us cool stuff on Android. I definitely felt like low-key. Oh, you must be truly desperate if you're coming to us Android users
at this hour.
No.
So
I'm appreciative. I'm loving the fact that we're also going to get a chance to use it on desktop mode experiences. So don't get me wrong. I bought it on Samsung because I knew it would.
He's going to buy it again.
But I'm going to pay it again. I would gladly pay the extra $20 to use it on the rest of.
I want to say I will actually buy it again still if it comes to Amazon. And then I could try it through Windows 11.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, for me buying it 3 times, that's still less than 2 years of a subscription on Power Director.
Absolutely.
So it's half of a year on KineMaster.
I'm actually even going to try it on my daughter's Chromebook, because I got her like the nicer Samsung that was like the i5 processor a couple years back and everything like that. So I'm actually like, man, if I can run it on a Chromebook now, that's so cool. And like, some of you in those MediaTek Chromebooks.
For sure.
One thing I wanted to say,
Ricky just gave you the transition. He was like, "Oh, those MediaTek Chromebooks."
So there's a small technical problem that we hit a few years ago when we tried doing the exact same setup.
Right.
It was called the Sun.
That's fine. No, I mean,
the phone stopped.
I know, but folks, you have to know we're out here on location and we're making this work.
Absolutely.
But we're doing it totally mobile, because we're mobile lifestyle kinds of guys.
Know exactly. If we
so I'll know if we drop.
If we ever disappear, Juan will give me the thumbs up. I'm just kidding.
Right now, I'm just like tagging through comments.
No, absolutely. But yeah, no, Chromebooks, conversations, everything that we talked about MediaTek this week has been. There's just so much. There's so much stuff that they talked about. So many. From like the Dimensity 9200, which obviously is the biggest star of the show, to their Kompanio side. Yeah, see, he brought the chip with him. No dip, but definitely I don't know why.
Oh wait, no, it's not in my case anymore.
You don't have the chip that's open there.
Hold on. I'm mad that no one on.
It'll be in the case in about 5.
We'll fix it in post.
We'll fix it in post. It'll be there next time he does.
We're doing it live. You ready?
See a moving image, right there.
We'll do it live.
We're doing it live.
No, because I remember you took a picture with the chip yesterday.
Yeah,
you were doing it.
The little clear case they gave me got all scratched up, but the chip is in good shape.
No, absolutely. So the 9200 is the biggest star. Obviously, we talked. The other thing that I was really excited about was Wi-Fi 7. It's no longer a conversation of demo.
Okay, hold on. We're doing this like very piecemeally.
Sure.
MediaTek's big focus for this entire show is talking about how you already own tons of their products.
Yeah.
So the tagline for this year's show is more than mobile. Okay. And so from a phone processor, they're showing off Chromebooks, they're showing off Wi-Fi 7, they're showing off new TV processors. Mm-hmm. They're talking about all of the little individual, like part of one of the demos was talking about all those little individual components that like manage display timings in laptops. That's a MediaTek chip. Mm-hmm. And I think this is a really smart play just in general. We were talking with one of the executives. I think it's difficult to gauge consumer interest, but when you see proper badges and labels on products, it does matter what's inside those products. And that's the only way that you can kind of talk about competition is if consumers know things can be different. Mm-hmm. So, Chromebooks are Chromebooks, but there are Intel Chromebooks and Qualcomm Chromebooks and now MediaTek Chromebooks. that matters to the consumer experience. So this has been the big overarching theme. It's going to be really easiest for just like to ramble and tangent, because everything kind of interconnects, where 9200 and also Wi-Fi 7 and also that new GPU and also these new like 5G capabilities and also this. So pardon, we're going to be all over the place.
And I think so the biggest thing I probably will say, maybe we could just do a quick hot take, since we have Ricky with us and we typically don't have, like, generally a lot of people, it's usually just back and forth. I'd probably say, what are your thoughts on? What do you think about the 9200? Or at least, like, generally, is there something out of what you heard yesterday that just resonated with you?
I mean, the 9200, I'm hopeful that we'll get it in the US. So I guess it's always the big thing, right? Like, you know, we want to see in there. Like, I'm excited about, you know, that the ROG got the 9000, right? So that was
plus,
again, something that I'm excited to see. But yeah, I always want, like, you know, can we get it in more places? Can we get it in more places? And to go off what Juan said, I think the biggest thing that MediaTek, it would be so great if they can get their partners to do is something like powered by MediaTek stickers.
Yes.
Like, can you imagine that on every Echo, on even like a TCL TV, and all these things that they're in?
Amazon would just, if just Amazon did it, it would just get them the notoriety that they wanted, and at least the recognition, the brand recognition that people,
like every one of the viewers, like, you probably have at least one MediaTek device in your home right now. It's very hard not to. It's like, so it's really cool of that. But can I say, just because I have been excited for this product, the PSVR 2. Like, that was my biggest thing. I don't know if you were saving that.
No,
we're definitely going to talk about that.
Everybody was like, all the nerds, like, I don't know if you saw,
we swarmed.
Everybody just basically went straight for the VR2. So Sony had a lot of presence yesterday. I was surprised. So, like, I know it's a MediaTek event, but they showed up twice, the VR and the TV section. So, I think a lot of people are very excited to see their collaboration. And the fact that they showed us the demo, we finly see, you know, the unit itself right there. And somebody, I was going to say nobody touched it.
Yeah, but they wouldn't let us really touch it. They had a big sign, "Please don't touch," which was really fun to stand behind.
Yeah.
Like, I got that one shot of Super Saf. Like,
you should say it's in the collection.
No touching. No touching Saf.
Yes.
No. No, but it's interesting. So, like, I got a bunch of questions, like, immediately after sharing some of those photos, and this is a part of the consumer education that all of these companies are lacking. Intel, I think, did the best job back in the day, because you'd have those powered by Intel stickers. So obviously,
Intel is what's inside. I think
the graphics are being processed by the PlayStation. You're using the PlayStation compute power to render the images. That is such a small part of what goes into making a VR headset functional. So all of the individual little co-processors and ASICs, and tracking and everything that facilitates has to come from somewhere too. And this is why it's so critical that a company like MediaTek, which typically hasn't had the same kind of visibility as Qualcomm, is out there leading a conversation saying, like, yeah, sure, the graphics are coming from your PlayStation, but controlling everything else is all of our gear. And it's through a collaboration with Sony and our hardware team that you will have VR that doesn't make you want to projectile vomit when you use it.
You don't want to get that motion, that loss of sync, and then suddenly your brain and don't want to do that.
But that's a different, even tech enthusiasts are like, wait a minute, it's MediaTek chips powering the headset? And you're like, that is such a casual way. Like, we haven't done a good job of expressing this is the division of labor that happens when you do something like VR. You have to understand every part and component that go into it, and one piece of the chain can't live without everything else.
No, exactly. And I think that was the biggest thing, like you said. The VR was a nice surprise. I really wasn't expecting that part.
No.
You expect, like, we knew about the 9200 a couple of days before they announced it, before the show started. So most of us already kind of knew that coming in. The VR was a nice little surprise. We also saw the advancement in their TV technologies as far as providing us better management for interfaces and also inputs.
Well, do we want to make that the Sony thread? I mean, from Sony PlayStation VR, one of the other big presentations was Sony coming out to say, like, we're looking at these premium tier televisions, and this is what we're gonna,
and we're putting in MediaTek in it. To me, that was the biggest surprise out of all of the other announcements. We had a lot of good announcements. I mean, we heard Vivo is going to be working with the 9200, which makes perfect sense. But I think Sony's promise and actually being here in person, in actual representation on the VR side as well as on the TV side, and having one of their people coming in, I think that was the biggest thing for me. It showed so much support from Sony. You know, Google was talking there. The head of I think Chromebook operations at Google made a virtual presence. They're putting
their partners are really trying to.
Their partners are
work with
definitely
them,
pushing, and I think that's a big thing for 2023. And you know, we're talking stickers. I know it may sound simple and like, you know, minute, but the reality is when you pick up something that has that sticker, you know, that golden white, you know, MediaTek sticker, it will make you feel that comfortable feeling knowing that you're getting a good brand, a good product that has been in the market for quite some time. You're not getting first generation, you're getting tried and true. You know, as Ricky said, it's probably already in your home, but you probably just don't know about it. You know, especially if you use any of the Amazon products overall. So very happy with that. I like that presence.
Well, and Ricky, I mean, because not only on your own channel, but doing like some of your side hustle on Newegg and stuff like that. You guys have had a bunch of TV partnerships. Like, how often do you ever really care?
Yeah, right. Like,
what's inside your
when
TV?
you talk about a smart TV, and even they were showing us that their chips are in something that I didn't realize in monitors. But again, that's what you were talking about on where it comes to, oh, you don't think that there's something else that is allowing this variable refresh rate to go, allowing this kind of stuff. Like, yes, like the GPUs from a computer will push it, but like there's all these little things that make it all work.
Inside
and
the monitor,
it never hit me to like, oh, there's probably a little computer. And then the MediaTek processor was it. It's okay, I got a case. Don't worry about it. Nothing fell. Nothing fell.
Did you just drop a fold?
It's off camera.
Did you just drop a fold?
No, Brett, wait, where is
it? Hold on. Live drop test.
Oh no, it was a Pixel.
Oh, okay.
In a good case.
I heard the Pixel had a bug. Did you guys hear that? That you can't buy the Pixels because they sometimes have software bugs.
Oh yeah.
Did you hear that?
I did not.
I saw it on some type of Android or tech publication where, I mean, obviously when Samsungs have bugs, they don't. That's not a problem.
Did they at least make sure to recommend Samsung or Apple at the end? Did they give that recommendation at the end of it?
Yeah, because I mean, if you're gonna
talk about it,
if you're gonna buy a phone with bugs, you should buy Samsung bugs.
Because everybody knows Samsung.
Like when the batteries explode.
Or like iOS 16. It's just been a perfect launch.
Just
like
total
no issues.
Well, and I mean they're already dumping 16.1.1.
I thought it was we're already.
Is it .1.2?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyway, all bad comedy aside, one of the things that I thought was really refreshing, and to what you were saying, we don't think about things like variable refresh rate being such a component of a television, and yet one of the major growth areas of this tech is gaming, obviously.
A heavy focus actually at the summit. Yeah, we had a lot of conversation on gaming.
My favorite presentation was the TV presentation because the host for that was hilarious. He was great, high energy. I'm going to tell you what this is, and this is how we're going to do. And you're like, yeah, that's the energy I need for TVs.
Tell me what to do.
But what I thought was so refreshing, and I'd love to hear both of your takes on this, on camera tech, I'm not bullish on 8K outside of high-end cinema production. But I am very bullish on 4K at faster and faster frame rates because it gives you a lot more flexibility. I thought it was pretty refreshing that that MediaTek execs came out and they were saying like, yeah, 8K is kind of in this weird holding pattern, but we're really pushing 4K and 4K gaming. And they're even talking about their VRR being compatible with like AMD FreeSync. So if you want to go PC gaming, console gaming, now like a Nintendo Switch gaming, your TV is much better reading that. So I kind of just wanted to get that sense because how were you guys feeling? Do we think this is just going to shutter 8K content? Because there's no point putting out 8K content if you don't have 8K displays. But I think this is such a big boon for gamers where 4K 60 is still kind of a stretch for a lot of gamers out there.
It's the monitor, the technology is, I mean, so there's two levels of this, right? You have the content that's already out there that tries to push the higher refresh rate, the higher displays. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at it, what you're missing in the component is the hardware that supports it from the manufacturers. But also like when we're talking 4K, because they leverage not just gaming from us, like playing video games and competitive in that matter, but they're also talking about watching games like, sports, because you do also, that's the other side where you want the higher refresh rate so that you're able to enjoy the game and be more that interactive as opposed to just sitting there and enjoying the content. So my take with that, when I saw their improvement, at least in the processing level, the multi-source support, the ability of doing party watching, connecting other people into the stream, leveraging multiple 32, like on a 65-inch panel, like leveraging 4 quadrants of 32-inch TVs and allowing each section to have its own local dimming.
But the point on that being, like, and again, we're doing such a disservice to the presenter because he was so entertaining with this stuff. But he was like, yeah, picture in picture sucks. And he was just like so blunt about think about every time you've tried to do picture in picture on a television and it's been a poor experience. And we need your TV to be more of a computer so that we can more seamlessly transition to sort of multi-panel video calling, conference calling. So, you know, there's no reason why your TV can't do that if it's got some more horsepower to accomplish that.
So that was the push that I was referring to. So it's not just focusing on the high refresh rate, but allowing us to have a better quality image quality, smoother transitions, processing power to leverage the experience. So bringing in that smooth experience you get from the PC over to your living room.
But Ricky, why is TK wrong? Because it really is just about the refresh rate, right?
It's about the ray tracing, but I'm just kidding.
It's all about the ray tracing. Oh, we've got to talk about
that. Then you just butt heads with the ray tracing and refresh rate.
No. So that's a separate component. So that we talked about, but like, you know, seriously, with the displays and the tech, I think for me was the surprise of finding out that, again, like you're talking about, like the controllers and some of the chips inside of your monitors already probably powered by MediaTek, but it's their effort, their support. Sony was in there. And again, the presenter at the end was absolutely fantastic. I will just say seriously. That's why you see the excitement here, is because we're really leveraging that much, how much was put in there. And all the other presentations were great.
Sure. And now like TK, throw it to Ricky.
With that being said, Ricky was going to talk about something else. Sorry. I'm used to this whole, and I'm saying
I'm gonna make TK play ping pong with us on either side of them.
No, I mean, honestly, I always have most of my stuff is shot at 60. Just because I've always loved that one, and I've always made the argument, like when people are like, "Oh, it's too fast," I'm like, "Well, I can show the refresh rate on a phone better at 60 recorded." So.
But hasn't it been silly? People talking about the UI stuttering, and they're shooting at 24. And you're like, how would you even be able to see?
Well, yes, and I love that. You know. He's not here, so some influencers aren't here. So then, like we'll always say, like, oh, you know, 30 is the perfect one, but like, oh, but you can't see the refresh rate on this phone. I'm like, well, you could if you shot in 60. So, but yeah, so I've always loved the idea of improving, you know, 1080p and 4K to a better degree, because 8K, like, look, we can't even get broadcast TV in 4K really at all yet.
Or even consistent, even at 4K.
So it's just like, improving it to get to the point, like when they do use, like, Fox has some like really amazing looking cameras with a huge shallow depth of field in 4K, and that looks absolutely amazing at 60. So it's like improving that is so much the benefit. So the fact that they're like, you know, they were talking about bringing soccer basically from the World Cup through a higher quality, and a person involved from end to end is a really great thing, because it does mean that, you know, it's going to be monitored and they can figure it out more. So I really love that idea. And I don't care about AK. I loved Juan's smile from ear to ear when he was saying that, because he was just like, this is the best thing ever. And I was like, because
I wanted to like stand up and be like, I told you all.
I felt you were going to slow clap. You were just going to.
But the thing is, like, the nice thing about the bulk of the techies and the nerds that we're surrounded with at these press conferences, like, I feel like I'm around reasonable and like-minded individuals. So it wasn't so much, but for these conversations where I've had a few people that have been really lit up about 8K, I don't think we can build 8K TVs on the back of 8K content shot from phones. Like, there is an argument, and I think that's fair. There's an argument to be made, like, hey, I want to shoot my family videos in 8K and see every pixel up on my 8K TV, but I don't think that's enough to hit that tipping point where an 8K panel makes sense for premium consumers. I'm not talking about average consumers. If you're rocking a 1080p HD TV, you're still in great territory, because that's where the bulk of all of your content is. 4K is a step to the luxury side. 8K is a step to the non-existent content side. And I don't know that you can make up the content with shaky cell phone video enough that it makes sense to buy the TV.
Even at that level, 8K is only really running at 24 frames per second, or even very few at 30. So
26 frames per second on the LG V60.
Hashtag not sponsored from Elton. I'm just
Rest
kidding.
in peace.
Hashtag someone. Yes, I know. Solemn. So, someone let Easy Computer Solutions know that we mentioned the LG V60.
Made it into the show. No, I mean, so that was a good representation. I mean, LG did on the V60 go with a solid 60 frames per second solution, and it was consistent across the rest of the UI. So, to Ricky's point, I feel like it's better for us to focus on the 4K 60, maybe try to push in with the 120, make the experience much smoother, better performance, as opposed to trying to grab at something that, in essence, still doesn't exist. To have people basically make the decision to go buy a 8K monitor or TV, you really need to have the content to support it. And smartphones and personal experiences at the side, I think 4K is still a much better medium right now. It's shareable. It's easier to work with. The file size are not ginormous. And editing, even trying to go through and editing it on your smartphone or even on a PC, it just doesn't become a cumbersome effort.
Yeah, you're a 3-year-old premium tier phone won't blink at editing 4K footage. It's so grossly overpowered.
Yeah. That's my biggest thing is like, it's nice to have 8K shooting on a phone. This is when we get phones that don't have 8K mode, it doesn't faze me. I want it to do what it does better and great and consistent. And that's what we're shooting. That's what we're seeing here from
MediaTek. And to wrap up TVs and Ricky, what are your thoughts? Because 8K is demanding, 4K 120 at variable frame rates are demanding. I think we're running up into the power limits. Like, there are now going to be regulatory actions on how much juice your TV can suck down.
Yeah.
Like, the EU is going to start cracking down on that kind of stuff.
I think somebody brought it up yesterday.
Yeah, they're currently in the talks with the regulations right now, right, for that. So I think it is concerning to how much you get, but I think, not to toot their own horn kind of thing, but MediaTek does that well with the power consumption, right? That's what they kept talking about.
Yeah.
We're giving you this much bump up in power, but we're giving you 20% less power consumption.
Right.
And that's what I'm really more kind of excited for, to be able to do that, because, when we get to what we were talking about with the PlayStation, my biggest thing that I do want a future, and I know you guys have tried some of the products, I haven't tried them yet, but the new augmented realities thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
ACL and Real, yeah.
But what I'm really excited for in the future with that coming, bringing more powerful things but less power consumption, really the idea behind that is, I feel like, okay, then we get back to the actual AR without connecting.
Yeah.
When it's just going to be glasses and you just have to put a chip in there, and that has to be able to power the thing. That kind of the lower power consumption is really what I look for. But yeah, because the upper power limits, I mean, you really kind of have to, okay, how are we going to have to put a 9000 series in a TV just to take, I mean, we were talking about Google TVs and their lack of storage, right?
I know.
And then but they put these Android games on there. It's okay, but how much can they really play?
I can't play it.
So it's I can't, we were talking about, we can't even fit all our streaming services, because if you have all the streaming services.
Oh man, and I'm constantly clearing the cache on my Google TV. It's so messy. But I think that's a good transition point. So we can jump over and talk from 9000 to 9200. I've been saying this since the Snapdragon 855 days.
Okay.
What I would love to see is a company fabricating the chip, manufacturing the chip, the MediaTeks and the Qualcomms, work with their partners and their customers, because obviously MediaTek doesn't sell anything to me.
Yeah.
MediaTek sells to their customers, and their customers make products and they sell to me. You keep seeing this bar graph. Look at how much more powerful the 9200 is as it consumes more electricity. But if it consumes the same amount, I mean, if it delivers the same performance as the 9000, look at how much more power efficient it is at the same performance.
Yeah.
We saw it with Qualcomm going from the 888 to the 8 Gen 1, same bar graph. And what I need them to do is talk to the cell phone maker and give me a big red button that says, use less performance so I can get that power saving advantage.
Yeah.
Because for 3 years now, we've been getting these chips that they go to maximum, run way too hot, throttle back, and then I'm performing worse than if I were on a 2 or 3 year old.
Yeah, like an 865 or an 870. Yeah, the 865, seriously, it's one of the, even to this day, it's still one of the better performers when it comes to general gaming and everything.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of improvement, but I mean, so we saw a new trend coming in at least later in the year.
The 8 Plus Gen 1.
The 8 Plus Gen 1.
And I do want to preface that the 9000, this current year's Dimensity, was better than the 8 Gen 1, but it still demonstrates some of those bad habits where they are advertising performance advantages or power savings, and then the manufacturers that use them go for the performance.
Because that's,
and that looks sexier because you want the big Antutu and Geekbench scores, but that's meaningless to really using the product real world. I digress.
I personally live in Geekbench all day long, so I don't understand.
Yeah, there's no point in using anything else on your phone.
Antutu Geekbench for life. I mean, as you can imagine, that's the only way to do it.
Hashtag Geekbench gang.
For life. For the win. Always.
No 3D mark.
For life.
I don't know about 3D mark, but you know.
Oh, wow.
I like Antutu because, and I like Geekbench because it gives me the better numbers.
Yeah.
You know, it's the numbers that I care.
The betterer numbers.
The betterer and the single multi-core, OpenCL, all the good stuff. What else would you do? I think the biggest thing for me that I noticed overall, so I don't have a lot of devices with the 8 Plus Gen 1. And honestly, with the brief time that I got a chance to even work with the 9000 Plus, it's a tangible benefit. The devices do run cooler than what the 8 Gen 1 did, and I think that's the biggest benefit for us. MediaTek is leveraging the second iteration now because they're technically going into the second TSMC basically process put into this, and we're going in with a faster prime core. That the architecture is very similar, but they're pushing more into it. I mean, we talked about ray tracing. We'll cover that, but for me, the excitement is more performance. But I want, as Juan was explaining, is we want control, and that's where ROG kind of comes in. The reason I like them is
the manufacturer makes the decision.
We see that in gaming phones where, like, literally, you launch the X mode and you're able to go overclock, run normal performance mode, or power saving, and it's all in there. The controller, the kernel is set up. You're able to basically, the scheduler basically changes the performance of the system, and we need that on general phones because, like I said before, I still think the 865 is more than capable to hang with you all day long right now. And what we're having right now is it's literally icing and icing and icing and icing on cakes, and we want to basically the ability of controlling it. And we, like I said, the OEMs can do one thing, SoC makers can do others. And
Ricky, I don't know how deep in the weeds you get on like the fabrication of next gen SoCs that I'll read white papers and like scurry after Dr. Ian Cutress and ask him annoying questions about these things. But I thought it was kind of interesting. The rumors on Qualcomm is a different arrangement of CPU cores. And I thought it was telling that MediaTek was taking what worked with the 9000, and it looks like refining and using new cores, but a very similar arrangement. Like they're not reinventing the wheel, even though ARM is saying like, hey, for this next generation of devices, you can do all these different configurations and you can go big, little with huge and huge, big, little, or you can do 7 cores, or you can do 12 cores. And MediaTek wasn't playing with any of that. So do you think that strategy is going to end up being the more, it might not be the sexiest, but like maybe it's better to just go for stability?
Well, I think it literally is kind of like mirroring what we just talked about with improving 4K and making that better instead of going with 8K, right?
Right. It's
like it's just like, okay, they're refining what works. And I'm very interested in this new huge, big, little section because I didn't get to use the 9000 or 9000 Plus, so I'm very curious.
Yeah, I've done a bunch of 8100s. I still have not gotten my hands on a 9000.
Literally, that 9000 Plus is the first and only 9000 Plus. The 9000 never got out of China, so for the most part, it's ASUS is the one carrying the flag at this point with trying to bring it internationally. But,
and that's the ROG 6D.
Ultimate. So the 6D Ultimate is the one that comes in, and the D obviously is for Dimensity 9000 Plus.
But so I mean, I think that's always, in a sense, a better solution. That it's kind of like coming from, okay, I know this might be sacrilege, but like coming from when I always loved Samsung, in terms of like the S series and the Note series. The Note series was the more refined one. And that's what everyone loved about it because it was a smoother one, didn't have all the growing pains the S series had. So I like that better. I like the more refined one. So I'd rather them essentially do like, okay, we learned a lot of stuff with this. Let's refine it and make it better, because those are the ones that I think most of us tech lovers love in the end. Like the one that's been refined is always going to get way more praise from us.
Do we think that this conversation that we're having as old techies about CPU and GPU compute power, is this irrelevant now? So much of what we're discussing is like the compute power of a 3 or 4 year old premium tier phone is still overkill for the majority of apps out there. But maybe I want those new AI features on a camera. Maybe that's what's really going to be important moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what, like, we were talking about this the other day, where it's like we're not really hearing much more about the CPU and GPU, right?
Right.
We're hearing about the NPU, the AI, APU, like all these different parts of the.
I've never heard people talking about ISPs more and not meaning internet service provider.
Yeah, I know. To go into a meeting, you're like, they're not talking about the internet. They're not talking about the internet.
Yeah.
Image signal processing. No, I know. It's. I mean, we're coming back to the point where it is becoming more about the camera experience. Like more and more people buy based on what the camera features and what they're doing. And there's a bigger push from manufacturers, or even from Qualcomm and even from MediaTek, on camera performance, capabilities. We talked about ray tracing. Obviously, it's a gaming feature that comes into mobile devices. We're also, they're talking about faster Wi-Fi connection for, like what you were talking about, the headsets when you're talking VR. Connectivity is the biggest thing, obviously. Faster, lower latency is the biggest concern. And maybe technologies like Wi-Fi 7 can get us closer to.
Which is a great transition.
Yeah, I could do it. I could do it. I just need to practice.
No, I actually just stomped on the brakes there for you. Sorry. I killed your transition there.
I was trying.
So speaking of Wi-Fi 7, try to get back. But yeah, no.
Where's that button where I disconnect my?
I mean, it's always like I was asking some of the guys about Wi-Fi 7 and just like, okay, so this is kind of the same principle of the millimeter waves, right? Like, okay, you're closer, but you're direct, so your line of sight will give you much more exponential, faster speed. But it's also like about using, it sounds like multiple of at the same time. Yeah. So that's really kind of cool. And I mean, like, I know when I got a faster, not only a Wi-Fi signal, but faster internet at home recently, I got fiber now.
Moved from my condo, lucky jerk.
Moved from my condo with Spectrum that high-speed internet is 10 megabits upload, and it took me like 15 minutes to upload a video, and now it takes me 1 on fiber. So it's just like
YouTube has to say, like, slow down, buddy.
Wait. We just started processing. Wait, you're already done? So it's those kind of things are really more of the interesting thing to me, because like, okay, like I literally, before when I did a live show, my family could not do anything no online, no streaming, no nothing.
I had to get separate internet in the house for that to happen. Because I had to separate it, because every time I was doing stuff, my son's on TV, and it's like, Juan can attest how many times I've frozen on live streams. So hopefully we're not doing that today.
Yeah, no.
But it's interesting, because I feel like a part of this conversation in every one of these individual business components, I don't know that I've been sitting in press conferences where the people talking were so frank about more moderate market expectations. That, like, we don't think cell phones are a growth industry anymore, and what we'll see over the next couple of years is the percentage of 4G to 5G change, not total number of devices change. And I kind of feel Wi-Fi is another technology that's so commonplace now. No one is going to go rush out to replace their router just because it's Wi-Fi 7. They're going to wait until their 802.11 AC router dies, and then they'll buy whatever's kind of current. So the numbers aren't going to change. It's going to be the demographic. It's going to be the percentage of people on these technologies changing, because I still don't know many people in my circles that have gotten on Wi-Fi 6.
No,
I finally got into 6E, and only because
I have not moved to 6E.
I skipped 6 actually. I was always on 5, jumped into 6E straight up because, well, so they released the new Nest, the Nest Home Wi-Fi, but it was because of like leveraging and connectivity. But it was also my first mesh system.
Okay.
I'm actually finally doing mesh, because we ran 2 Wi-Fis for the longest time.
I love mesh.
No, I mean, and it runs, like, when you get the right system that sets it up correctly. But you're right. I don't think 7 is going to be as well. The adoption will happen when you need it. More than likely, you'll probably get it on devices faster than you get it at home. Meaning, if you buy a new TV, or if you're buying a new Chromebook,
Oh yeah.
you know, or you're buying a new smartphone, maybe, you know, 9,000 future-wise.
Yeah, I had multiple Wi-Fi 6 devices before.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And until I got the router, I never saw the Wi-Fi 6 on my phone, and then suddenly when I turned it on, yeah, I was like, wait, I have 6E on this one.
I'm actually kind of impressed. Like here on the resort, we're on Wi-Fi 5.
And we're still running.
No, but I mean, like, that's actually kind of surprising for the infrastructure. So that's still pretty recent for like an entire hotel resort to have managed that,
to upgrade to that.
that. So again, they're not looking at swapping those out until there is a fundamental need
Definitely
to make that transition.
And I think so. Wi-Fi 7, to what Ricky was explaining, at least with MediaTek's approach, they're trying to leverage it with Wi-Fi 2.4.
Yeah.
They're not trying to keep it Wi-Fi 6 and 7. They're trying to go Wi-Fi 7 and 2.4 because 2.4 goes longer. You got the better reach. Also supporting more like legacy type of hardware, like smart devices and so on. A lot of people don't realize that when they're upgrading, if they don't have 2.4, if they, let's say, buy a solution that doesn't, you just excluded a whole bunch of things on your network that doesn't work. But yeah, no, to me, that solution works for long range, for short range, performance-wise, and trying to reduce latency. And we're still at its infancy. You know, this is, last year we were talking about it more in theory. They had a couple, I think they had a demo at CES. This year we're talking about actual hardware. So in 2023, at some point, we're going to start seeing Wi-Fi 7 technology, routers and stuff. But it's going to take some time to what Juan's point is. This is not the, you know, Monday it gets released, Tuesday everybody buys all the Wi-Fis, and suddenly there's like a pile of Wi-Fi 6 devices.
What I'm hoping, and I think, because Ricky, we've had conversations about this a while ago in the past, it would be nice if these types of router conversations, because it's the boring, it's like the least sexy part of tech, but every time I describe my home network to my family, they start to appreciate things like, oh, you've got a giant stack of hard drives in a box, and that's local. And when you move data locally, it is stupid fast to move it around that network.
Yeah.
I think there's a consumer education opportunity there for a company to say, like, hey, it's worth buying this stuff because look at what you can do. Yeah, but what about my Netflix? And be like, F your Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Get that like data off your phone onto every other laptop and TV in your home.
I know you said you had a NAS, so do I.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's nice to have everything. Yeah, so it's nice to have everything just like locally available to you. And you know, I set up stuff where like, you know, our phones can back up and things like that too. So it's nice to have it's yours and
you control it. Yeah.
It doesn't have to go anywhere. And
no subscription fees or anything like that. So it brings me back to having LumaFusion, but anyways.
Yeah, no, I'm always down.
You bring up a good point. Let's talk about LumaFusion on the LG V60. I don't think that's gotten enough because you can go dual display. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that to us. I do want to wrap this up because we're getting like we should probably kind of get into the last 10 minutes here. The other transition and something that I wasn't as familiar with because my experience with Chromebooks is still a little bit more limited. I have the Pixelbook Go, and it's been so good. I've dabbled with some Acers. They're good. They're really good machines. But I also think it's kind of interesting that when we really look at what goes into an affordable, consumer-focused, average consumer device, we've stopped talking about compute power. Like the core configuration that's going into these new Chromebook chips is kind of what we've been playing with in $200 to $400 phones for the last 3 or 4 years. So really, it's just becoming more of a play on power efficiency. When we were looking at Kompanio, and Acer being one of the most visible partners.
Acer and Lenovo, I think both, from what I understand, I remember they committed to trying to go with the new Kompanio.
Oh, I know they've committed, but who did they trot out on stage? When they actually held the device in front of us, they were really fronting the Acer.
Acers, No, they've been in the business for quite some time. I mean, even to your saying, mine is an Acer i5. I bought it for my son. It's what carried us for the last 2 years or so when we were, doing study from home. Google services, everything runs on it beautifully. And I think Kompanio's kind of leveraging that, bringing it in. So Wi-Fi 7, better processing, overall performance. But I think it's just, we forget because we're overpowered. I mean, we have more power than what we need. It's
no. When I show someone using a Samsung Galaxy S10 as a desktop computer, I'm told a Snapdragon 855 couldn't possibly be enough machine for average consumers. But these new Kompanio chips are an order of magnitude less powerful than what went into a Snapdragon 855.
But
Oh no, I was just gonna say, to your point of one of the best things about it is what the demos they showed us were, what you said you got the last past 2 years, right? The demos they showed us were actually like real use case scenarios of like, oh, we're gonna show you how much Netflix you can watch, which is something that you'll do on a Chromebook. And the biggest thing that we've done, right? Google Meet.
Yeah.
Because every school
was video conferencing, and
that's all they did. And it was like, I think 2 times, I think it was, they said it was double the battery life.
Of a low power x86.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but that to me is more like, okay, that's progress. Because like, if we can get to a 10-hour battery life in like a $300-$400 Chromebook, instead of needing to pay that, special edition $1,000 Chromebook, kind of thing like that, it's really nice. It's nice that, oh, you can get extremely long battery life you don't have to spend that much money for something that, because if I recommend a Chromebook, I am usually saying 500 or less,
right?
For if it's for a student.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's like. No, you don't need all. I mean, it's like, you
it's
pick the screen size you want, pick the build kind of thing you want. But like, this is like, look at this much CPU, look at this much storage.
So his ears must have been burning. Dr. Ian Cuttress just jumped into our chat just to say hey.
Okay.
I mean, we're out by the executive suite. I know you're answering emails in your room, but if you wanted to drop by, we're going to be here for 10 more minutes. We're going to shut this podcast down, but don't feel like you have to if you don't want to. He just made a joke though. It was like, hey, you remember when Intel was promoting Core i7 Chromebooks?
Yeah.
And you're like, I understand wanting more compute power. And this has been one of the biggest hurdles where I'll describe something like using a smartphone's desktop mode. And people trip over themselves to complain about the things that it won't have. And I'm increasingly finding that is irrelevant to the conversation on who that product would really be designed for. When my nephew got a laptop from school, it was like an Intel Core M, old, like netbooky
like
thing,
i3 or something.
And his parents saved up for a while to get him an old Galaxy S10. What device was more powerful? Like literally his like 2-year-old, at the time it was a 2-year-old phone, was more powerful than what he got issued to him from school. So our entire perspective on what is consumer grade, I think, is out of whack in the enthusiast sector, because we're so used to these like 5% more powerful, 10% more powerful. It gets 10% higher multi-core scores in the Geekbench. And you're like, that is irrelevant. That does not matter to the actual real world use of that product.
Well, and that's why I'm actually excited more. I was excited when MediaTek and Qualcomm were coming to Chromebooks, because I'm like, since we put Android apps on there, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
And to all of what, you've always showed us with like video editing and everything, like the GPUs are actually better than a lot of these lower power.
Well, I mean, I'll admit, like, if I can go to a 3080 and edit from that, obviously you've got more power, more capability, more control. But performance per watt, no way.
Jumping into a $1,500 plus GPU to leverage or improve your performance on a phone is where you can pick up, like you said, a 2-year-old, and maybe even a year-old phone, $500-$600 phone that, like last year's flagship or the year before. It will outperform most your PCs that take it like 40 minutes or so, to render a video out, and you're getting that with like a laptop type of a solution. With a desktop solution, you get that. It's mobile. It's easy. We're running our entire live stream this time on mobile tech, wireless mics, mobile device, on a Wi-Fi, and we're outdoors. A lot of the stuff, you don't need a lot of horsepower. Right? Like I said, we're over the amount of power. It's more about efficiency, performance, and providing us better battery savings, getting us that performance without having to kill our batteries and having to walk around with a battery, charging all the time. But it's exciting to see what they offered. And I love for me, kind of like to kind of maybe just capture the event yesterday, because we're not done. Just for reference, this is that we're talking about day one. There's still a whole bunch of stuff going on this afternoon, so you'll see more stuff from us on all of our socials and stuff like that. Make sure to obviously, follow us. YouTube tech guy, obviously some gadget guy, some audio guy over there, and the schmo in the middle, TK Bay. But no, the event so far, I'll say, is I'm happy to see that there are more people attending.
There are a broader range of different creators.
Really good multidiscipline. Yeah,
absolutely. And that to me was a massive. And I told MediaTek, I said, I'm happy to see that. This is something that we haven't had before, and the conversations were honest. They were genuine. They were candor. You're able to respond to questions, Q&A sessions. We had a chance to even question the CEO of the company sitting in front of us. So very happy and very promising. And I can't wait to see what they come up with. Again, this is the beginning of 2023 type of conversations. There's way more things that are going to come up. So,
for sure.
Yeah. I'll throw it to because Juan's going to make me like, you're not doing like, no,
he's sitting right there, TK.
No, I'm just kidding.
You're looking at him to use the mic. Okay, sorry.
See what he did?
Yes,
You see the stuff I have to deal with on a daily basis.
No, yeah, but I'm just. I'm more just like I said, I'm happy for more competition.
Yeah.
Right. That's I think the biggest thing. I'm excited for MediaTek. Like that was literally when I did my little tweet for the 9200 or 9200. I guess
it's over 9,000.
Yes, it is. It's literally over 9,000.
It's literally over 9,000, buddy.
I do share the love of Dragon Ball. Even though I couldn't instant transmission to us the other day. But anyway.
Right? TK took forever to get here.
I explained the technical limitations of why I couldn't do it on
Wow.
Friday.
Some people care.
No,
and some people want it more.
When I'm leaving, you'll see how fast I get out of here.
Okay, I think most Dragon Ball people know that you can, as long as you can censor power, or what are you trying to say? We have low power levels?
I didn't want to say the word.
But
I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to punch Kakarot right in the gut.
Excited for more competition, and I mean, I know I'll be there. I know, but just like at CES, we're supposed to get like a
even more
Wi-Fi 7 demonstration.
That was the other comment that Dr. Ian just dropped. It was like, we got good access, but I really wanted to like handle this stuff more. And I really got to throw a lot of respect, because we've been on a few of these like just getting the momentum going again, media and press events, and it is not difficult rebuilding your infrastructure to do in person. And I got to throw the shout out. Like, I think MediaTek has handled this transition really well. Obviously, there are still some things that I would love to see from a summit like this, where we could maybe go a bit more hands-on. They've got some prototype units with 9200s in them. They're not wanting us to show them on camera, not because of anything to do with the performance, but because they're big mule test devices and they're kind of ugly. And you're like,
I can what you see in a lab. That's the type part.
And we've literally said this to executives, like, I can appreciate that. I'm really not trying to blow smoke because he's in our chat, but I think if the audience that follows Dr. Ian Cutress, if he were to demonstrate what the performance is with the way that he tests, you would have that first round of comments where people wouldn't care what the device looked like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like if I put it on my channel, I'm going to get a bunch of comments like, oh, MediaTek made a phone with bezels, and bezels suck. And people are dumb if they have bezels.
I love this comment.
I gotta stop putting those comments in this chat. I'm sorry.
TK, I'm just saying, it's like really rude.
It's the only way to get to
but I feel like if we can kind of like build the momentum, get back to doing these press conferences in person again, and I think in like next year's conference that they might be able to kind of end run and give us a little bit more access for this before we have to go to a CES to cover it later. It's just been refreshing to see, like, this machine is rusty and you got to get oil in the joints and you got to get it moving again. But it's been a wonderful experience actually getting to cover this in person, which we haven't done for the last 2 years.
Absolutely. Having both of you guys, honestly, just hanging out to me is the best, seriously. So with that, I think, overall, I will say this. We'll say thank you very much to MediaTek for allowing us to be part of the conversation. Giving us a chance to actually meet up and kind of reconnect with a lot of our friends from so many years. It's been like literally some of them, it's been a few years we haven't seen each other. Beautiful weather, great access to new conversations, new technologies, and this show is also, just for reference for everybody else, this is also a dual show for both the Android Bay and the Best of Our Week, as both Juan and I are on travel. We're doing this live, and we're trying to kind of bring you guys We're
doing it live.
We're doing it live. Look, seriously, like we were like contemplating where to do this. This is seriously the best way we do it, and we love to keep you guys in the conversation, and we love your support. Getting a chance to hang out with Ricky again, honestly, it's like one of the best things ever. I was joking at the beginning. We took a picture yesterday morning because we were sitting next to each other, and
we're back at it again. We're hanging out and we're still doing it. So there's more stuff for us to kind of, keep you entertained. But thank you, Ricky, of course, for
thank you guys for having me. It's awesome to be on with you guys. I mean, when I met Juan and then when I met TA, it's like I would watch them before, so it was like then I got to be like, hey, I go watch you, bye. It's like but so
cool.
It's really cool.
But we're getting,
I like your videos, man.
Oh, I got a chance to meet a whole bunch of people that I'm like massively big fans of in person. Like seriously, it's just to me it's the fun part of the going to an event is just get a chance to hang out. But of course, I'll also say to hanging out with Juan, getting the chance to go out again. We did TCL before. We're doing this. More to come. But with that being said, we are a little bit time constrained.
Yeah, we got to go get lunch. So I am going to put a pin in this as we get down to the last 2 minutes before they put out the spread. So folks, thanks so much for tuning in, for joining. We'll obviously have a bit more. TK's got an awesome interview coming up with a MediaTek executive that I think is, again, just kind of dig a little bit deeper for those of us who like to get
absolutely
into the weeds on this kind of tech and stuff. So stay tuned. And then we're going to be right back into it. You guys are going to be covering Qualcomm?
Yes.
Next week?
So I think
Qualcomm,
no.
You're not doing Qualcomm? I'm not doing. So TK will be covering Qualcomm.
I will be
next week.
I'll be watching.
I'm going to be coming back. I'm finally up to speed enough where I feel like I can make some more in-depth videos on things like Pixel 7 and Xperia 1 and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot, and I really do need to put a video out on LumaFusion just so I can share my ire with Power Director and KineMaster and get everybody over on a good video editing app. So there's going to be a lot coming up. Obviously across all of our channels, all of the social media and everything else too. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, for sharing, liking, subscribing, and all the effort that you put into this, because it really has mattered over the last couple of years. And especially now that we're here on location, that if you're fans of this tech, supporting those channels that are having those conversations means everything. Always. So we definitely appreciate all the support.
Thank you very much. And I think since you have the controls,
yeah, I think I can end it from here. So I'm gonna end the podcast. Okay, we're doing it. Okay, hold on. This might end broadcast, and we'll see you all later
for another episode.
Bam.